Hello, everyone. This is Realtor Linda Peltz. Today I'm here with Scott Harris. He's going to join us. We had him on here a while back and he's going to join us and we're going to talk about all kinds of great things. So stay tuned. Take it away, Scott.
Well, since we talked last, I finished my insurance licenses. I'm licensed in California for life insurance, Medicare, but I'm going to just do life. And I actually have a term policy that's perfect for basically your clients that are buying property, right? So it's like a
Oh, okay.
30-year term. So if anything happens, the mortgage is covered. So you can get a 30-year term policy. So if anything happens to the income earner or somebody, either one of the spouses, the house is paid for.
Definite benefit. I mean,
Yeah.
right now with the house prices up, it's so crucial, right? A lot of us can't get by with just a one income family in order to
Yeah.
cover that mortgage. So definitely would be a big benefit and a big help, right?
Yeah. And it's on a web portal that basically your client, there's very little, it's easy peasy. They can go directly to that link and they can get a quote and buy the policy directly from that link.
Nice.
All,
What
yeah.
company is it?
It's a surety.
A surety. Okay.
Yeah. And so it's up to a 30-year term.
Okay.
And it's pretty much to cover any house. They can get enough to cover, up to $1 million. So, yeah.
Well, they might have $1 million house. I mean, we all kind of dream anyway.
Yeah. So there's that. And I'll give you that link so you can share that with your clients,
Okay, I appreciate that.
and
Yeah, send that over and I'll include it with the recording.
yeah, and it's just something it's a product. It's one of the new expansions I'm doing for my business for this year. I wasn't expecting the company I talked to them last week before New Year's, and they were saying, well, we're hoping to have it by the 15th. And it was like, I got a call on the 2nd. It's done. It's like, whoa, that was quick. And so,
Wow.
yeah, I haven't even gotten set up on my new website yet. I haven't. I'm meeting with my web developer next on the 15th to get to do phase 2 of my website redesign. Last time we talked, I was
Right.
scottharristax.com. Scottharristax.com is now a wholly owned subsidiary of Harris Group Services.
Nice.
Yeah, I
Nice.
got
Yeah,
new
you've
business
really
cards.
expanded. Sounds like it's going to be a good year for you.
I hope and pray. I go to chapel at least once, sometimes twice, sometimes 3 times a week. Hope and pray, and there's a lot of I became a Knight of Columbus for my church, so I'm doing that. My I just still do taxes. Tax season's all ready to go. Now I can do them remotely.
Oh,
So if you
that'll
have friends and
be a
family in
benefit.
other states, hey, I'm in Texas. Well, guess what? I can do your taxes in Texas.
You're versed in Texas now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, everywhere it's all I'm setting up a remote to do it remotely for tax prep, and I wasn't set up for that until this year. And so I'm trying to do that because most of my clients have left the state. So I gotta, hey, you're in Oklahoma or you're in Texas. I
I
can do
can
your
still
taxes
do them
again.
now.
I can do them now. I'm trying to get those clients back.
Right.
And so there's doing that taxes. Hopefully I'm good, hoping for a good tax season. I still have 4 podcasts.
Yeah, I knew you said the
And
podcast.
yeah, and I'm on I'm broadcast 2 hours on Thursday on an internet radio station.
Oh, how fun is that?
LJDN podcast radio.com. It's the woman that owns the radio station contacted me like 4 or 5 times. She wanted me on there, because she wanted diversity on her platform. So I'm the diversity.
Nice. And what
Yeah.
all is your podcast talking about nowadays?
I have I have 4 podcasts. One I haven't done a lot with. But my main podcast is the Constitutional Patriot podcast, where I do news, commentary, and analysis on politics, economics, constitutional rights, and religious freedoms. Then I do. It's an overarching. It's a philosophical aspect to it, so it's basically very overreaching. I have a more narrow focused on domestic politics. That's the Tea Party Policy Chat podcast. And then I have one focusing on international relations, international business, and that's the Patriot Foreign Policy podcast. And then my business one that is basically it's tips for the solopreneur. It's the Solopreneur Business Patriot podcast. These are like tricks, little like things that you could do as basically a one-person business to help, like a task management software that I use, ClickUp, and outsourcing things like web design and things like that. So there's that, and I'm going to be starting one hopefully after I'm going to be selling annuities. And then when I start doing that, I'm going to set up another podcast, Smart Business Investing podcast. I already got the logo for that.
Sounds
And
like the podcast alone keep you busy.
well, I started them because tax season, it's before I got into my insurance licenses. Tax season's done April 15th, right?
Mhm.
So I thought do something to get my name out there, to get people, listening and stuff. So there's like name recognition for when tax season comes around again, and also it gives me a teaching type of outlet because I am a teacher. I have a teaching credential, social sciences. So, and as you could see with all the documents behind me, I'm very into history and government. And
Sure. But
yeah,
you're kind of doing the research anyway, so you get
yeah,
the
I just do it.
information.
Yeah, it's yeah, and well, I've always been into politics. I've been a conservative political activist since I was like a child.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, make sure you get all the links and web names and different things over, and I'll include it in the article for you.
okay, yeah, I'll do that. Because my new website domain is scottharrisgroupservices.com. And I'm going to be adding I'm an independent contractor for David Allen Capital, which means if you are a gig worker or a business owner and you need funding, the company that I'm an independent contractor for has funding they have 3 banks, small, medium, and large, can get funding for gig workers, medium-sized businesses, or even big business. If you are a business owner and you take credit card payments, they do credit card processing, so you can do that. I have there's other insurance services I have available through them. I'm also, if you have credit card debt, like you have clients that want to like get a better credit rating and they don't want to file bankruptcy, I have a link that they can get a credit card settlement agreement, which will actually lower the amount they owe and how much they're paying to improve their credit score.
Nice.
Yeah, so they can help people that, they might just have not quite the right credit needed to qualify. Well, give them a few months and the settlement agreement, they might be able to qualify for that. So that's, you in real estate probably have people that are like, oh, your just credit score is just a little bit too bad to qualify. Well,
Yeah, some of my lenders do go through that where they,
yeah,
well, if you'll come on in and we'll can work on that, we could,
yeah,
hopefully in a year get you ready to go type thing.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's I'm an independent contractor for Prosperity Financial Network, and they actually do settlements that where they actually lower in those settlement negotiations. They actually not just lower the rate, they actually lower the amount owed. So there's all kinds of things. Student loan debt forgiveness programs, lowering payments for that. I have a program for that. So I'm expanding into a lot of different services. That's why there's a lot of different group stuff going on there.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's all about networking and marketing and yeah, one thing that I am really not good at is social media marketing. I got the dummies book and it's like I need the dumber book.
I
Than
need the
dummies.
dumber version of the dummy
Yeah,
book.
I need there's Dumb and Dumber. I need the dumber social media marketing book. It's like I'm sitting there reading, it's like I don't know what the hell they're talking about here.
Mhm.
And it's just a generational thing. I'm old, it's like yeah. You're like what, in your 30s? I'm like 20 years older than you. I'm like 52 years old. This is an entirely new, era. I have a paper planner, for God's sakes. It's like Franklin Covey paper planner. I have
Yeah.
a I did get a smartphone, my first smartphone since we talked last. I've had it since October and I hate it. I really can't stand it.
And yet
There's
it's a necessary evil when you're in business for yourself. So
I don't call me on this because every almost like 30% of the time when I'm trying to answer the phone, I hang up on them. Now, if I'm in my car, it works great. I just hit a button on my steering wheel. It's perfect. But when it's the tap slide maneuver, you know, yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about your tax services. I know that's kind of your primary focus.
Yeah, I do. My fees, all forms included, flat rate pricing, $250, all forms included. I you come in, you make there is do an appointment. I do an interview. I get their documents, photocopy everything, your IDs, your social security cards, all those documents that you have to have on file. And what I do is I make sure when I'm e-filing your tax return, I include your ID, your social security card, all that stuff as PDF attachments so that you don't have problems with, for example, if you have like kids, and this happened to my brother when he was, someone stole his kid.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they got they got her social security number from the school office. Somebody was in there and they were stealing social security numbers and selling them to people. And somebody filed a tax return with his daughter's social security number.
Oh
I mean,
my,
he
that's
had to
interesting.
provide the social security card. He had to do all this stuff, and to do that, so I include a photocopy of the cards as PDF attachments to the return.
Mm-hmm.
So that can help. Who's like, well, look at the card. It's right there. There's the card. So there's that. I do basically come in, I do the taxes. And then when before I e-file them, get them ready to e-file, I have you come back in and I go over the tax return with the client. I explain why everything is the way it is. I answer all questions. I use it as a I basically I spend, you're not paying me by the hour. You're paying me for my experience and my knowledge that I am conveying to you. And I do flat rate pricing. I don't charge by the form. Okay. So if there's a credit that I can get for you, it's like, hey, I need this extra information because you might qualify for this, you know. And so I try to find all of and I give
loopholes.
advice. Yeah, I try to find every way to lower your taxable, money going out. One thing that I really convey to people is if you are a W-2 employee somewhere and you have a matching funds 401k, please, dear Lord, match the funds. That's free money. Okay. And there is a retirement, there is an employer credit retirement savings credit that actually pays part of your tax,
That's
for
interesting.
saving for retirement. Okay. Then I tell everybody to get an IRA, a traditional IRA, because that lowers that amount that you put in there. You can take it as it's the old school language, above the line deduction. What it does is it lowers your taxable income, your gross income. So it lowers your taxable income. So you're actually being taxed on a lower dollar amount. Okay. And then you kick in the employer savings credit retirement for having a 401k, and then you basically, that pays part of your tax, right? So you're paying
the traditional IRA would be the same as the 401k, or
no, it's not the same. It's two different things.
Right.
Two different things. A traditional IRA is an individual retirement savings account that's paid with after tax dollars. Okay, so the money you're putting in that has already been taxed. Okay, so what that does is to get people to save for retirement. That money grows tax deferred. Okay, but you also get a basically the money that you put in to your IRA lowers your taxable dollar amount, right? Say you're making $70,000 and you can put up to $5,000 into your $5,500 if you're under 50. They raise it. I think it's like they think of they raise it every year like a couple $100, right? So I think it's like 65 or something if you're over 50. They raise it every year, and so you could put in like $5,000. Say you put $5,000 into an IRA, right? That $5,000. So what you do is you take your income and you lower it by $5,000.
Okay.
Boom. So your taxable income is then lower. Instead of have taxable income of say 50,000, now your taxable income is 45,000.
So where does that 401k credit come in?
Well, after you figure out your taxes and your taxable income, right, and then you figure out your tax on the tax part, you get this is say your taxes that you have to pay is X. Say it's $1,000, whatever it is. You have to pay $1,000 in tax. Well, then there is an employer retirement savings credit, a form. You fill that, a calculation goes into that form. How much did you save on your W-2? It has how much you put into your 401k and all that stuff. So that money, there's a form calculation about what your income is, how much you put away, and all this other stuff. And then it comes up with a credit that actually pays part of your tax.
Oh.
So
Well,
say you have $1,000 tax, you blah, 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 you do all this calculations. Oh, well, you get a $400 credit. So you actually are paying $400 less of your tax,
okay.
right? So you're paying less tax. Okay. So, and there's the form, a calculation. How much did you contribute of what percentage of your income did you contribute? And if there's a form, it's a calculation that goes and figures your credit. Okay. So it depends on how much you put in, what your income is, on what I can't say everybody's going to get this. I can't say that because I don't know what your income is.
Yeah, we're all different.
Everybody's different.
Real estate too. It's just, there's no cookie cutter for some of this. It depends on what's going on in your life, right?
Yeah.
And how your credit is. And there's so many different factors that come into play. So no two transactions will ever be identical to each other. So.
Yeah. And it's like when I used to do taxes for another company that I'm not going to say, but it was in a store. I'll just leave it at that. And, the people would come in, well, how much is it going to cost to do taxes? Well, it depends on basically how many forms do you have and how many credits, right? If you if you have earned income credit and you have 3 kids, that's going to cost more than not having earned income credit, not having kids. Okay. Because a lot of places they charge by the form, right? So if you have like multiple W-2s, right? You worked a lot of part-time jobs, or you like changed jobs 2 or 3 times, or you have a second job, right? With the way things are nowadays, people, I do DoorDash, is like, I do this. Well, some of those things are 1099. Some of them are W-2s, right? Well, the thing about 1099 is you're self-employed. Congratulations, you're a business owner. Okay. But with a Schedule C comes a lot of deductions that people don't realize, right? It's like, what kind of business, like you do real estate, right? I'm assuming you have a home office, right? Or you have an office that you rent. This is a rented office. I rent this office.
I have both.
Yeah. I don't have a home office, but I have this office. So if you are working out of a home office, right? Well, guess what? If that's your office, that percentage of your rent is deductible, right? So there are certain rules, on like, the office can only be used for business. You can't use that thing for any place else. And if you were ever audited, they'll try to trick you. They'll try to trick you. In my tax class at Fresno City College, the CPA that was doing it, he hated having clients come to the audits, right? Because they'll trick you. They'll say, they'll come to your house, right? And they'll say, oh, they're looking at your office. And if you have family pictures up, and like this one guy had his son playing the cello, right? And he goes, oh yeah, my kid plays the violin, and it's like killing cats. And he was like, I just tell him to go into the other room. And it's like, yeah, it's like, I'm going to the office and play in there. Does that happen to you? It's like, oh yeah, your kid came in here and practiced one time. Guess what? All deductions gone.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's what they'll do. That they'll trick you on that. So you have to use it for office only. Kids can't come in there and play games. Kids can't play games on your computer. That happens, you basically lose all your deductions. So, basically ban the kids from the room. It's like, don't let them in there, because if they go in there, it's like, yeah, you're in trouble. Yeah. And
so all the ins and outs. Now, is it something that you work with? So as a business owner myself, right, I have things that go to the bookkeeper, and then the bookkeeper sends them over to have the taxes done, right? They're separate entities. Is that something that you get from the business owner?
Well, are you doing a Schedule C, or is your business filing a separate tax return?
Both. I have both.
Okay. I do Schedule Cs. Okay. I don't really do actually like business tax returns on
Okay, so
that.
that's something different.
That's something different. That's where the business that you're doing an EIN. Okay.
Correct.
And you have like payroll and stuff like that. It's too I can't do all that with the price that I charge as a flat rate price. Okay. I would have to set a different pricing structure. And the softwares is for those types of things are more expensive.
So you don't
Right.
really do the bookkeeping part of it. You just
I was
taxes.
I used to do bookkeeping. My dad used to have a bookkeeping tax service years ago, but with everybody doing QuickBooks, it's a lot of the small mom and pop businesses, Schedule C stuff. They do it on I mean, like my dad's a gardener. He has a phone app,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he just did it, and it sends it to the wife. That his wife does all the bookkeeping, and she prints it out on QuickBooks, and it's like done in 30 seconds. So, you know, um, for with businesses with payroll and things like that, the bookkeepers they use probably Sage or Peachtree. It used to be called Sage, now it's Peachtree, or they use QuickBooks.
So then they just bring all that into you at the end of the year.
If they're doing a Schedule C, I'll do it.
Taxes.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And if they're doing an individual return, right. I could do their individual return, but I can't do their business return, because then if they getting if they're doing a business, they just give me their K1s or their 1099s or whatever it is they're doing their income. Usually if it's a corporation, they pay themselves as a W-2 employee of their own corporation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I saw this comedian. It was so funny, and I've used this. He's a comedian, and his accountant told him he needs to incorporate, right? And he basically, he was having a tough year, so he wanted to collect unemployment, right? But he had to fire himself, right? So he basically says, he goes, I basically, I had to fire my employee, and we had a meeting, and it was, and I didn't take it well. It's like, yeah, I stole stuff as I left. He's like, he's self-employed, he's a tech comedian, right? He's like, know, yeah, and he was joking about how he had to fire himself so he could collect unemployment. And he got upset that he got fired, so he stole some stuff on his way out of the kitchen. It's like, dude, you live there. It's like, yeah. I tell people, yeah, I had was like when I go to get coffee or something, would you like the receipt? And I go, yeah, I had to have a really tough I got reprimanded by my business owner for not keeping good receipts. And it's like, and being a solopreneur, it was kind of uncomfortable. And they were like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Yeah. So basically what I tell people that have a Schedule C is I want to find out what their kind of business they have, how their business operates, so that I can give them information about how they can keep records of their transactions and things. A lot of people don't realize mileage logs are needed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When you're driving, you can't drive. See, here's the thing. For me, I have an office location. If I was to drive from my house to my office, that mileage is not deductible. But if I'm at my office and I go to Office Max or the post office or meet with a client somewhere, that mileage from my office to wherever I'm going and then back to my office, that's deductible.
Okay.
Right. So like if you're going to from your office to meet with clients to show them a house, or you're driving clients around, all that mileage is deductible.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But in order to deduct that mileage, you need mileage logs.
Right.
Right. And So that is, and for that, you have to have at the beginning of the first day of the year, you need your starting year mileage.
Okay.
And then or as close to the first of the year as you get it. And then at the end of the year, the odometer reading at the beginning and end of the year. And then you have a mileage log. And then for business mileage, you keep track of, you can get a mileage log. I have one I have a, that little space by the speaker in your car door. I have it right there with a pen. And I just write down if I'm going to do something. And you just total it up at the end for all the mileage that you do. You add it all up, and you find and it just you have to put all that stuff in the return.
Okay.
But see, the mileage is important because that's a good
wonderful information. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, especially for some of the ones that are just kind of getting into business, it's all wonderful little tidbits you can give them. So maybe they need to get a hold of you before tax season so that they can get.
I that is great. I like if you have like, well, what do I need for like, a lot of the times it's like, oh, they come in December. It's like, oh, well, yeah, I do mileage. Yeah. Sorry, friend, doing a mileage log in December for the year, too late. Like, for next year, this is that always happens. Is like, I had a client, they were doing, I need a mileage log. It's like, I'll do it. And it's like, okay, where's the mileage log? I forgot. I went and bought her one. I was at office, it was like, oh, this is like $4. I bought her this. And when she came in, I go, here.
January 1st.
January 1st, do this. And she, it was so funny. And then she went off and left the state. So I don't know what she did.
Don't know where your log
She moved to Texas, I think it was, or Florida.
Well, all wonderful information. It looks like we're running out of time here, but make sure you give me all your links and different things.
I will.
And I'll include that in the article. And it was lovely having a nice chat with you again.
Yeah, we'll get coffee sometime. Do that
Definitely. Way. Everybody, this is Realtor Linda Peltz. I love these little chit chats that we have. My license number is 01997670, and we'll include all the information down below. Everybody have a great day.
Bye. Thank you.